Our vacation officially began as we were escorted into the American Airlines dining room in Miami. Nice way to have dinner and wait for a flight. We settled into our respective cubicles and entertained ourselves for the next 9 hours as we flew south to the capital of Argentina, and the Buenos Aires airport's very nice. We were very happy with our choice of hotels, the Recoleta Grand Marriott. Great location. Here is the Argentinian version of the White House. It's called the Pink House, or Casa Rosada. That balcony is where First Lady Eva Perón, or Evita, addressed her followers around 1950. There's Argentina's version of Capitol Hill. Here it's called the National Congress. They have a monument as well called an obelisk, built in 1936 to mark the city's 400-year anniversary. Not quite as tall as the Washington Monument. We took a double-decker tour on Buenos Aires bus, good for 24 hours. So we used it one afternoon, then again the next morning. Lots of pretty buildings like the 1908 Teatro Colón Opera House. We saw a protest on the plaza near the president's office, and fortunately it was peaceful. There's not a big police presence, I noticed. Just 6 officers in single file with their shields. 3 things overall were omnipresent, I thought. The tango, saw a lot of tango dancing. We'll see more about that in a second. Eva Perón, a lot of her. In fact, even on the side of one of the biggest buildings in Buenos Aires. This was first memorialized in 2011 on that building. And then soccer, and here's the big stadium in town. It was interesting seeing red clay tennis courts. We came back to our hotel one night and we saw paparazzi outside, red carpets, all sorts of cameras. There had some event going on in the hotel. They wouldn't honor my press pass, so we just went straight to bed. The next day, we went out and saw the most interesting bookstore you'll ever see. It's called let me do this right, El Ateneo Gran Splendid. I'm sure it sounds much nicer with the Spanish accent. National Geographic called this the most beautiful bookstore in the world. That was back in 2019, and I'm sure it hasn't changed since then. Look at this. You zoom in tight. You see on stage is now a cafe where you can sip espresso and read and chit-chat with your friends. And even the ceiling above was beautiful. This was a fresco painted in 1919 when it opened. This symbolizes peace after World War I. This was converted into a bookstore in the year 2000, really a cultural landmark. One thing different here, the restrooms. Boys and girls go in the same one. Took some getting used to. We walked about 20,000 steps a day. Look at this bridge. It's designed to look like 2 tango dancers. And sure enough, we saw 2 tango dancers with their tip jar performing on said bridge. Here is what reminded me of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier at Arlington National Cemetery. Same sort of situation here in a park in Buenos Aires. A lot of parks, very well-attended parks, a lot of families enjoying themselves. Saw some sort of paddle game, not quite tennis, not quite pickleball. There was no net, so that provided for longer points, I'm sure, but these guys were certainly enjoying themselves. That night, we got dressed up and went out to check out Tango. The Tango, one of the high-end places to see in town. We had a nice Argentinian steak at this dinner show. It was just first class from start to finish. Great to see. Thought I'd see Ricky Ricardo here. It was just wonderful. We saw some much different dancing the next day at a plaza near downtown. These clowns were entertaining the kids and families. Just a lot of joy and laughter in the air. It was just so positive to see. The biggest event on Sunday is something called the San Telmo Street Market. It's a mile long on this road. We saw some other guys waiting in line for something. It was to pose with some sort of animated figure on the bench. Maybe that'll be bigger in this country in a few months. Maybe it is already, for all I know. More tango dancing as well. And also more murals of tango dancing. And they didn't forget the band as well. Pleasant day out there in San Telmo. And this is the mural in Palermo, real funky area. Reminded me of some parts of South Manhattan. We got on a plane the next day and went out to see one of the top wonders of the world, one of the 7 top natural wonders of the world. This is Iguazu Falls, 2 miles of waterfalls, over 200 falls. It was just majestic to be out there among this, although it was quite chilly. And at some point I missed the heat in Florida, but not too much. It was great to be out there and quite an effort to get out there. We had a nice time. Next day, took a ferry boat to Uruguay. where we were at a beautiful place called Colonial del Sacramento, where we spent a day. Very mellow place. Talk about Old Town. We had lunch right there, and great architecture. Wasn't very crowded. A good chance to really relax and decompress after all the traveling the previous day. Aaron enjoyed the hopscotch, and then we watched the sunset over the water, over the Rio de la Plata, between Uruguay and Argentina. Felt like Columbus Circle in Manhattan when we got back to the Buenos Aires area. We stopped in at a former zoo that is now an eco park. Apparently Buenos Aires turned against zoos 9 years ago, but we did see some roaming animals like this peacock in the park. You know, in America, pickleball has gotten huge. But in Argentina, another sport is big. It's called padel. We stopped in and watched them play it off the wall. It's played in this country, but not quite as much as it is in Argentina. We saw two different versions of this in different parts of town. Here's twice we saw happy birthday singing, and everyone really gets into it in the restaurants. The staff got out tambourines and just a lot of joy in the air. It seems like in the U.S. it's more tolerated. There, it's celebrated. We saw some folks outside a TV studio enjoying themselves. Look at this street performer. Let's stop and watch this for a second. She was trying to get tips at the red lights, and she deserved it. You know, she wasn't just washing your windshield. She did the hula hoop while balancing a ball on her head and juggling these bowling pins. So people did give her money, and it was unique. It was quite a street show. Fun to watch. One of our friends back in Florida said, make sure you look up my best friend Juan. We did. We had a great time with him. Real pleasant guy. Each time we got back to our hotel, they greeted us like we were family, asked us how our day was. Really a nice vibe inside the Recoleta Grand Marriott. We definitely go there again. Good location. Made some nice contacts in there. Back to the airport for the flight home. Pretty chandelier art piece there in the lobby. But it was time to go. We buckled in for our almost 9-hour flight back to Miami, but time flew. Didn't sleep quite as well as I'd like to. Buenos Aires, a cosmopolitan, friendly, walkable city. We really enjoyed ourselves. Glad we went down there. We'd go back again. 2 thumbs up.